Wonderful, Glenn.
Really,
everything is awesome.
Peachy, great.
Everything is cool when you're part of the team.
Oh my gosh! And are we part of the team? Well, yesterday things went a little nuts in Washington. There were some unhinged leftists. Now, that's a little redundant, but some unhinged leftists were at the RFK hearing, where he's talking to the House Appropriations Committee, and some crazy protester erupted, in just what they do. And if you're watching The Blaze, I want you to watch this or listen to it if you're on radio. Here we go.
The witness will suspend. The committee will come to order. Capitol Police are asked to remove the individuals from the hearing room. Members of the audience are reminded disruptions will not be tolerated.
I guess they were saying RFK lies and people die. I don't. Maybe it was about Hamas. Maybe it was about too many umbrellas. I don't know.
It was too many umbrellas.
Too many umbrellas?
Yep. Far too many umbrellas in this country for sun and for rain. I mean, what is it? It's everything. I'm with them, frankly. Too many.
So we have RFK. Now, did you see, if you were watching it, did you see his reaction? Watch again, just the very beginning of it. Stop.
He looks terrified. He looks like he's about to get shot.
Yeah.
He's as a Kennedy. Yeah, you can see that.
You don't do that to a Kennedy. Now, here's what's crazy. These are radical leftists. Stu, when did people stop considering his radical leftist lifetime record?
I don't know. I'm as perplexed as anybody on this one.
Okay.
Yeah.
He has been a radical leftist for a very long time.
Yeah, I mean, I would think that there's probably examples of other hearings back in the day where people were doing that type of protest on his behalf.
Yeah.
Right? Maybe not that he asked for it, but like thinking that they're aligned with him, certainly on climate issues. And now all of a sudden, I guess you get involved with Donald Trump and everybody turns.
Yeah. So let me go back to the testimony. Cut 1, please.
So do you disagree with the cuts that are being proposed for Medicaid right now?
Oh, the cuts to, this is I don't know if you understand this or whether you're just mouthing, the Democratic talking points. The cuts to Medicaid are for fraud, waste, and abuse. And I'll tell you what that means. It means that because of DOGE, we were able to determine, and it's about 8 million people who would be affected. Because of DOGE, we were able to determine that there are 1 million people who are claiming Medicaid from multiple states. That's illegal. It's theft. You're not allowed to do that. There are another 1 million people who are collecting both under Obamacare and
Mr. Secretary, that has nothing to do with the budget that's
These are
actually
the only
being
cuts that are
proposed
being
in the
made.
House.
These are the only cuts that are being made to Medicaid.
That's not true.
Yes, it is. There are another 1 million illegal aliens. We announced a law yesterday, a rule yesterday, we're not going to pay illegal aliens anymore. And guess what Gavin Newsom did this morning? He said we're going to take all the illegal aliens off the California Medicaid rolls because the feds aren't paying for them anymore. So the compassion ends.
Secretary, let me focus you.
It's incredible how no one is actually listening to facts anymore. I mean, it's one thing when you're not listening to facts, from Donald Trump or Joe Biden. Okay, we can argue about facts all day and whatever. This is RFK arguing with Democrats about Medicaid fraud abuse. And he's saying we're just taking people off that are illegally using Medicaid. Who is against this? Honestly, again, who is against this? Now, Gavin Newsom is putting everybody on California aid. Excuse me, California? How are you going to afford that? Every taxpayer, left, right, center, every taxpayer in California should be raising holy hell. Will they? No. No, they won't. They won't. How are you going to pay for that? Your state is going to collapse economically. Now, you know why the Democrats are not worried about that? Is because that's part of the plan. That is Cloward and Piven. Collapse and overwhelm and collapse the system. And they've already done it. They did it in New York City back in the 70s, and New York City collapsed. Now they're doing it to states. And it's going to happen the same way. And I'll be damned if I am going to send my taxpayer dollars to California because you didn't have the balls or the brains to stand up. Not doing it. I'm not doing it. Hey, dummy. Only one of us is going to be right in the end about your financial collapse. And everybody who can put 2 + 2 = 4 down on a table, not 7, even if you show me your work, but 4. This is simple math. You are going to collapse. Why am I going to pay for it? You come to the United States of America and you ask us to bail you out. And anybody in Congress that is from my state, I will make it my mission to put you out on the street. I will make it my mission if you vote to bail California out. Oh, but we have to have California. Do we? Do we? Do we really? Do we? Honestly. I didn't sign up for a suicide pact. I moved to Texas for a reason. I didn't want to be part of the suicide. Well, no, they're committing suicide, so we all have to. What kind of cult are you in? My gosh. And look what the Democrats are doing. Look at what the left is doing. The left is becoming so incredibly radical. You had in Newark, what was her name? The Congresswoman. I wrote it down. Congresswoman. LaMonica MacGyver. This week on MacGyver, we assault ICE agents in Newark, New Jersey. So MacGyver went out. Congresswoman goes out and it's pretty clear assaults these officers and tries to storm in as part of oversight. That wasn't oversight. That wasn't oversight. And you know what it really was? A setup. Because I want you to play the AOC comment from a couple of days ago where she commented on this. Because Homan says, no, in fact, play Homan first. No one's above the law. Listen to this.
Do you want the Congresswoman who was caught on camera assaulting ICE agents to be arrested for that?
If you assault an officer, absolutely. No one's above the law. These men and women put their lives on line every day. We should be supporting them, not assaulting them. I mean, especially in a facility that's guarding some of the worst of the worst. You can't lose control of the facility. And when you cause what they caused up there, it causes the safety and security of that facility to fall. And that's not what we want. And I said from day one, you can not support ICE. You can support Sanctuary City. Shame on you, but you have that right. But don't cross that line and we will ask for criminal prosecution.
Okay, so the government, now the government that's sane at least is saying, look, I don't care who you are, left, right, pink, purple, black, white, it doesn't matter. You assault a police officer, you're going to jail. That's just something I've always grown up with.
What about January 6th, Beck? Yeah, January 6th, you don't like those people go to jail?
Yeah, I'm going to have another conversation with you about the rule of law and due process, but that's for a different time. Now, what are they doing? Now AOC comes out with this warning.
And now what DHS is trying to say, again, they're using public intimidation because they know that they cannot come for us all. They know that they cannot come for us all. And recently what they said is that DHS is allegedly looking into arresting members of Congress who were showing up for their legal and constitutional obligation to conduct oversight. If anyone's breaking the law in this situation, it's not members of Congress, it's the Department of Homeland Security. It's people like Tom Homan and Secretary Kristi Noem. You lay a finger on someone, on Representative Bonnie Watson Coleman, on Representative, or any of the representatives that were there, you lay a finger on them, we are going to have a problem. Because the people who are breaking the law are the people who are not abiding by it. And it is enshrined in the law that members of Congress who show up to ICE and CBP facilities are required to be granted access, legally required to be granted access. And they legally cannot be inhibited from accessing these facilities to conduct their constitutional obligation to investigate and conduct oversight. So if Kristi Noem wants to break the law, that's on her.
Okay.
How can anybody take this person seriously?
I know.
They just did a poll. Who's the face of the Democratic Party?
Her.
She was number one.
I know.
This complete moron bartender from 5 years ago is the face of the party now.
Yeah,
which is, I mean, perfectly just.
It's reasonable.
It should be.
If you've been watching the Democratic Party, it's reasonable that she would be the leader now. They're socialist. They're stupid. They're nothing but activist. They're nothing but chosen puppets for I don't know who's pulling all the strings of the Democratic Party. But that's what she is. She's just a little puppet. She's just a little chosen puppet. Hey, you know what, bartender? We can make you a star. And we have that all backed up. We did a show on her early on. How she was selected, how she was elected. I mean, she was selected. She's a little puppet. So, it makes total sense that she is the face of the Democratic Party. But what's happening here? What's happening? DHS, the Hamas, the riots now of everybody standing up and saying, you can't export illegal aliens. You can't send them back home. The riots that are just itching to start. Now we have, what's his name? The failed vice presidential candidate, little short, Elmer Fudd Hunter guy.
Oh, gosh, yeah.
What was his name?
The guy in...
Wolf. No, Tom, no. What was... Anyway, you know him.
Oh, Tim Walz.
Oh! You sure? You sure he was the one who ran?
I think so.
Okay, all right. I'm not sure anymore. But he's now come out and said, the government's going to release Derek Chauvin. No, there's no evidence of that. There's none. Donald Trump has said, no, we're not doing that. But what are they doing? They're itching for a race riot. They're setting something up. I'll explain some more in just a second. First, let me tell you about American financing. Adulting is hard. You're juggling kids, you're feeding pets, you're working 2 jobs, you're making meal plans, you're melting down over grocery costs, and participating in a daily group text thread that just will not die. You're swamped, like all the time. Now we add into the mix of having to worry about and deal with, piled up high interest credit card debt. Mortgage rate you got stuck with back in the dark ages, it seems, and student loans that look suspiciously like a ransom note. Turns out adulting, it's a trap. But here's the good news. American Financing can help you with all the debt. Okay? They are mortgage experts who actually work for you, not the bank. They'll show you how to roll all that high-interest debt into a new home loan that could save you hundreds every month. There's no commission, no sales pitch, just straightforward way to take control of your finances before they take control of you. It takes 10 minutes to get started, and it's all over the phone. You don't even have to put your pants on. Okay? I mean, how easy is that? They might be more... Don't tell them you're not wearing pants. That might make them money. Anyway, it's American Financing, 800-906-2440. It's 800-906-2440. It's AmericanFinancing.net.
NMLS 182334. NMLSConsumerAccess.org. APR for rates in the 5 starts at 6.799% for well-qualified borrowers. Call 800-906-2440 for details about credit costs and terms.
10 seconds, station ID. Welcome to the program. I'm going to get into more of what is happening here in just a minute. And J.D. Vance is going to be our guest here in about an hour, so you don't want to miss that.
He may be the face of the Republican Party someday soon.
And I'd be proud of that. Yeah. I'd be happy with that.
You think it's better than the dumbest lady from your Zumba class being the face of the Democratic Party? Because that's basically what they have going on right now. I'm fascinated by that. Like, in this poll, it was like AOC, Bernie Sanders, Jasmine Crockett. Like, these are all people you'd be embarrassed to be friends with, let alone be the face of your ideological movement.
Now, how many people were they surveying? Do you know? I mean, was it a good poll?
I think it was, yes.
So they're talking to people all over the country. And so Democrats in Iowa are like, you know who I really like? That Crockett woman and AOC. I mean, I think they both have it going on. Can I get a little Elon Omar on the side? Is there any Karl Marx? Can anybody see Karl Marx around? Can we put him on the list? That's what regular voters are saying on the Democratic Party?
I mean, the top three, I believe the number one answer tied with AOC was no one.
Was it really?
Legitimately no one. But
okay, that makes sense to me. That makes sense that the average Democrat is going, no one.
But not the average. I mean, it was 26%, I believe. AOC was also 26%.
But who's actually picking up a phone and going, are you a Democrat?
Stop making excuses for them. They're bad.
No, I know.
They're terrible.
I know, but the average Democrat picks up the phone and they hear somebody on the other end going, are you a Democrat?
No.
Okay, so you're not admitting to it, and it's getting to be a smaller and smaller pool because it's just on a suicide course.
It's fair. AOC 26%. Bernie Sanders, who's 100,000 years old at 12%, but the same person as AOC. Like AOC and Bernie Sanders are the same ideological spectrum. It's very narrow. Yeah. And then maybe just slightly more, maybe even dumber, but slightly more crazy is Jasmine Crockett. She's third at 8%. Hakeem Jeffries, who is theoretically the minority speaker right now, but no one knows who he is, 5%. And then Pete Buttigieg at 5%.
Oh my gosh! This is the craziest bench I've ever seen.
It's really bad, really bad. Buttigieg. Now, I believe this poll was taken before the beard was revealed, so that it could be higher now.
Wait, what?
He's growing a beard, Glenn.
What? He what?
Oh yeah, well, he's a big boy now. He gets facial hair and everything.
Wow.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. So his main accomplishments are putting in lighting under a bridge in his town of South Bend, was it? I can't remember. I
don't know.
And then he went into office and watched trains crash into each other constantly for 4 years. And now he's supposed to be the leader of the Democratic Party.
Right. That's good. No, seriously. Democrats, you got it going on. You got it going on. You do. I'm going to explain why all of this matters, because what they're doing is setting up for a new fight, because they're expecting trouble on the horizon. And maybe, are we entering a summer of love again?
Glenn Beck.
Hackers love lazy passwords. Let's be honest, you might too. Password 123 is the number one most popular password. Fluffy the cat. Glenn Beck 1776. Shouldn't have said that one out loud. Now I'm thinking, look, I get it. You're supposed to have a different complicated password for every site you visit. Do you? I can't memorize all of them. It's got to be 16 characters and asterisks and one capital letter in the middle of something, one number that completes the sentence and it's used as a letter. I can't do it. This is where LifeLock comes in. They monitor for signs that your identity has been stolen, because most of us don't do that. They look even on the dark web. If something slips through, LifeLock's restoration team jumps in to help fix it. And nobody can prevent all identity theft or monitor all transactions everywhere. But if you're using the same password for your bank, Netflix, and your dad's old AOL account, you might need some backup. Protect yourself with LifeLock. Join now and save up to 40% off your first year with the promo code Beck. Call 800-LifeLock, 1-800-LifeLock, or lifelock.com. Use the promo code Beck and save 40% right now.
Get every story we talk about every day straight to your inbox. Glenn Beck's free email newsletter is your daily dose of truth. Sign up now at glennbeck.com.
Welcome to the Glenn Beck program. Last night, if you missed the TV show, I'm going to give you a quick recap of it coming up in just a minute before J.D. Vance, because I want to ask J.D. Vance about the theory that I'm operating under on what's going on. But let me just take a minute and talk to you a little bit about what is happening in the Middle East. Yesterday, the president was in Qatar, and he just secured the biggest deal for Boeing ever. 160, I don't even know, 727s or 777s or whatever they are now. And it's $200 billion. Now, Donald Trump has no reason to go do business and help Boeing out right now. He is smoked at Boeing. Okay. But he does. Why? Because keep those jobs here, get Boeing some more business so they can actually have a chance to right themselves and actually stop operating like a government entity and more like an actual business, like Boeing used to be, and pull your butt out of the fire. Here's the opportunity, Boeing. What are you going to do with it? He's doing this all over the country, all over the world, and he's bringing businesses here. He's also at the same time making sure that AI, that we are in charge of AI. We may not be. It is going to be a close race between us and China, and God help us if China wins. But whoever gets there first will rule the world. And you do not want a totalitarian to do that. Now, I know people, Democrats think Donald Trump is a totalitarian, but no, the reason why Silicon Valley flipped to Donald Trump, do you know? Do you know why Silicon Valley all of a sudden flipped to Donald Trump? Yeah, because he likes oligarchs. No. Actually, it's because they were in a White House meeting with Kamala Harris and Joe Biden. What a combination that must have been. It was the meeting where Kamala Harris said to all of the leaders of AI, it's actually 2 letters, AI, but it's 2 words, and it means artificial and they must have wanted to say, who's got a rope here? I can hang myself. I can't listen to this anymore. But in that meeting, they were told, this according to Mark Andreessen, who was there, they were told, stop investing in AI. The government's going to do all the investing in AI because we're going to own it. And so it's not anything you guys are going to be able to own. And they said, well, wait a minute. What? You can't do that. Yes, we can. How are you going to stop people from pursuing this? And the answer was, we stop people from pursuing nuclear weapons and nuclear energy. All we do is we just ban a portion of science. Oh my gosh, is that you, Catholic Church from 1100? Holy cow, what does that mean? And they walked out of that meeting and went, we cannot back these people because that's fascism. That's worse than fascism. That's totalitarianism. That's why they were for Donald Trump. And so Donald Trump has said, we have to have AI, which he's right about. We do not want somebody else having it. I don't like our government having it. I don't like Silicon Valley having it. But I like those two options better than China. So we got to have it. So what has he done? He has bulldozed all of the regulations, the red tape, so they can build their own power plants. Now suddenly the left is in trouble because AI has arrived and it needs what we produce right now. In 3 years, it will need 99% of all of the power that we currently produce. Well, that doesn't leave anything for us to heat or cool our houses or drive around or do anything. 99% is what it's going to require in 3 to 4 years. So what did he do? In a story that went nowhere, I couldn't believe he told me this in the interview. He's like, yeah, I'm going to let them become utilities, and they're going to provide their own power. I'm going to let them build their own power plants, including nuclear power plants. I mean, they're going to have to do it within the law, but I'm going to cut all the red tape because they need it, and they need it now. Holy cow, what? Now they're going to build any kind of power plant they want, including nuclear. That's how important. So now what happens to the green energy thing? What happens there? Because we've been telling you for a long time, green energy is not ready for just the power that we currently need, but it certainly can't provide the power that we're going to need. Now you see the evidence of it. So now what happens to the Green New Deal? Now what happens to Glasgow? Now what happens to the Paris Climate Accords? Because we can't participate in it. Now, Europe, they've decided not to produce AI. They've decided let China or America do that. We're going to stay out. All they're doing is regulating things. So they can live in the past. They will crumble because of it. But they can live over there. So now we have the Green New Deal not being a catalyst for the new World Economic Forum and, their project that was supposed to happen in 2030. Agenda 2030 also being put together because of all of the climate agenda and all of the woke agenda. That's all from the United Nations. In America, at least, that's all going to hell in a handbasket. It's not in Europe. So what is President Trump doing right now? He's locking up rare earth minerals. That's what Greenland is really all about. Rare earth minerals. We need them. Why? Because we only produce maybe at most 5% of our own rare earth minerals. You have nothing if you don't have rare earth minerals. We are 100% reliant on some of the other things. They're all used for Silicon Valley. I had a list of them last night on the show, but they're all used in tech, in defense, in computers, everything. And we have none of it. The top 5 things that we need are 100% import. I should say the top 4, because the 5th one is pharmaceuticals, and that's about 90% import. We can't go on like that. We can't. So what are we gonna do? We're trying to break up the things that are too big to fail. Those big banks, what are they doing? They're trying to put small banks still out of business and grow the banks even larger until you get to a central bank. Well, I want to go the opposite direction. And nobody is really talking about this. Instead, we're talking about, did he take the plane or not? And that is important. But did you see what happened this week? I think this week in the Middle East, it is what he did this week is going to be remembered. The speech in Riyadh is going to be remembered as a speech as impactful as the Gorbachev tear down this wall speech. I absolutely believe that, because he's reshaping the entire world. Let me ask you this. How are things going in Europe? Pretty good, huh? What's the biggest problem in Europe? What do you think the biggest problem Europe is facing right now?
Yeah, I think you'd probably be referring to immigration.
No, I want you to decide. What you tell me. What do you think it is?
Man, I think that would probably be big cultural changes, immigration. I mean, I think,
Correct.
I know some in Europe would argue potential Russia issues, which
generally the elites would do that.
Depending on how it goes over there, I suppose that could become a big issue.
Yeah.
But I think that the move, the constant move to the left, along with a bizarre open borders type of policy, which is changing not only their culture but their laws and so many other things.
Everything.
That would be where I'd land probably.
So, do you think that with what you know about NATO, and I want to talk to him about these as countries, not as NATO itself, but as countries, the countries of NATO, how many of them do you think are actually rooting for America and rooting for independence of the elites? How many are saying, you know what, freedom, absolute freedom, freedom of speech, freedom to be, to be who you are, freedom of religion? How many of them are actually standing up for that now?
It feels like less than half.
Easy, less than half. Easy, less than half. Okay? The ones that are doing it are the ones that were former Soviet states who have seen this show before. Okay, Poland is leading the way on that. Hungary is leading the way on that. They know, they've seen this movie before. But France, I mean, they're spiraling out of control. And what's going to happen when you start to hit real economic problems? What's going to happen? You're going to have riots in the streets. You're going to start to have race riots. You're going to have Islamists and countries like Iran that is running the show for much of Islam, half of it. The violent radical side, absolutely. You think they're going to stay out of a collapse of Europe, or are they going to help coordinate the takeover of Europe by Islam? I mean, does any of this sound crazy? Does that sound crazy? Like it can't happen?
Nothing sounds crazy.
Okay, nothing sounds crazy. Okay. So why is Donald Trump making these deals over in Saudi? Because I think he knows what's coming. And if you missed the show last night, give me 15 minutes and I'm going to tell you, I'm going to just recap some of the stuff that I talked to you about. It all makes sense. The whole world will start to open up for you and you'll understand the news. But what he's seeing is these countries are not really our allies. Canada now has Mark Carney. Do you know who Mark Carney was? He was the head of the Bank of Canada. He was also the head of the central bank in London for Great Britain. He was also the guy who was in charge and the main designer of the Glasgow Financial Accords, which was the boot on the neck of the world for the World Economic Forum and ESG. He led that movement. He's now the Prime Minister of Canada. In 2017, I think, or 2018, he gave a speech in Jackson Hole where he said the American dollar has got to no longer be the gold standard. Do you know what that means if that happens? It means we're Venezuela overnight. Okay. So is he a friend of ours? Can we do business? Will Canada have our back? No. No, they won't. So he is reestablishing and he's finding who are our friends, who can we count on, even if we keep them at an arm's distance, who can we count on and who can we save from going to China right now? Remember, China has been courting the entire Middle East. China wants the Middle East. What did Donald Trump just do? He just got them away from China and back onto our side. Now, if things go crazy and there are riots in the streets and race riots or religious riots on the streets, do you think the United States and Donald Trump will now have the ability to lean on Saudi Arabia? That's why he's trying to eliminate and box out Iran, because they are a source of most problems over there and all around the world, terrorism. So he's trying to box and collapse them, and he's trying to get the other Middle Eastern countries on our side. So you can go to Saudi Arabia and say, could you help us with this? Because we white people don't have a say in this one at all. We need somebody on the Islamic side that can say, this is wrong. Stop it. Whether they will or not, I don't know. But I think that's one of the reasons. The other reason he's over there securing all of that oil is not for us. Remember, he's drill, baby, drill. Why do we need their oil? We don't. But you know who does need their oil? China and Europe. So don't sell it to China. Sell it to Europe. But you know what? Europe, you want to get fat and sassy? Guess who's good friends with Saudi Arabia? We are. Why don't you get off this WEF train that is going to put you into the grave? Or at least back off of us, because you won't have any energy. I think the guy is brilliant, especially when you understand the overall picture of what is coming. And the left knows it, the right should know it, but Donald Trump knows it, I know it, and if you don't, you will know it in just a few minutes. And J.D. Vance will be joining us in just a second. Stand by. Smart enough to scare burglars, simple enough to be set up by boomers. That is Simply Safe. Some home security systems, when you set them up, feel like you're programming a supercomputer. You know, push this button, hold that for 5 seconds, enter the code backwards while spinning in a circle. But that's not Simply Safe. Simply Safe is security with a setup that actually makes sense, whether you're a tech genius or somebody who still uses a flip phone and still says the Google. It only takes about 30 minutes, no tools, no drilling, no installer in your living room with booties. And I mean, unless you want them to install it for you, and that, you know, that's good. When it's running, it runs fast, response times fast, 24/7 monitoring cameras, sensors, and an app that even Grandpa can figure out. Burglars don't like Simply Safe. Get 50% off the new system now with professional monitoring plan and get your first month of monitoring for free. It's simplysafe.com/Beck. Simplysafe.com/Beck. There is no safe like Simply Safe.
This is Glenn Beck.
You know, it's harder to find than honest reporting on CNN. Coffee that doesn't make you feel like you're funding some weird corporate social experiment with every sip. Blackout Coffee is a great example, though, of the opposite. They're a family-owned American company that actually roasts coffee that tastes incredible while standing for values that we can all get behind. They built the entire reputation basically on American craftsmanship. They care about America. They care about the coffee quality that they're delivering to you. And their dark roasts bring all the bold flavor. Their medium blends deliver complexity. Their specialty flavors, they're delicious as well. What's impressive is how they maintain this quality across their entire product line. They've got a great team that works with precision in American facilities, creating profiles that honor both tradition and excellence.
What's the name of this again?
Blackout Coffee?
Blackout Coffee?
Yeah.
Because I think I used to have Blackout Coffee back in the day.
Oh, that was a drink that you made for yourself at night.
But it worked really well. You want Blackout, you got it.
You did get a Blackout there. This is going to do something a little different for you. Like in the morning, they have instant varieties or cold brew cans that offer quality coffee without the wait. Premium beans transformed into exceptional coffee with every roast. From people who respect the tradition and excellence in every batch. They got thousands of 5-star reviews. It's blackoutcoffee.com/Blaze. Use the promo code Blaze. You get 20% off your first order. blackoutcoffee.com/Blaze.
Welcome to the Glenn Beck program. Trump is on his trip overseas, and he is signaling strong support for Israel through the Abraham Accords push, which everybody's focused on the plane. Again, he's going to make peace in the Middle East. You watch. Peace in the Middle East will come. We know it's not going to last, but at least he'll get everybody to the table to talk about real peace for a while.
This is Glenn Beck.